Today on Nerd and Normal, getting a new computer or just trying to save some money? We look at free programs for your computer.
Welcome to Nerd and Normal with Matthew and Gareth, opening your mind to the world of technology. So let's get started.
Matthew, are you well today, sir?
I'm doing well, and autumn is finally here around Australia, and hopefully things calming down around the world as well, but technology must battle on through it all.
Well, it's not the solstice yet, so it's not quite autumn, but according to the calendar, which always gets it wrong, it isn't. But be that as it may, I hope everyone had an appropriately celebratory and commemorating Anzac Day yesterday.
It's a case of every year, this is probably the biggest day of our calendar year in this country, is Anzac Day, celebrating, commemorating those who fought and returned from wars all over the world.
And we will remember them, and lest we forget. There are so many devices on the computer, be it Apple or be it PC, that I've got to pay for. And I know you've come up with a list of items or apps or things that help me wade my way through life on the computer that are free. Let me start with a question about one of them, which I use, VLC Media. How good, how effective, and why is it free?
So VLC Player, or Video LAN Project, has been around for quite some time now, and it allows you to play nearly every media type known to man. It came about because people were sick and tired of having to install multiple programs to install on their computers to just watch a video, whether the video be from an Apple computer or a Windows computer or a phone or anything else. People decided we're going to make this program that will play all of them, nice and easy. And it does pretty much that. Nearly every single media format known to man, whether it be video or sound, can play in the the VLC media player. You can get it by going to videolan.org. All these links and the details will be in the show notes today because there's going to be a lot of links, a lot of programs to go through. So Make sure you go down the bottom there and get all of those links organised for yourself to download all these free programs. They're all free. Some of them have functionality like this one. There is the media player built into Windows, but VLC Player does it so much better.
And what about iTunes?
iTunes comes in handy if you've got an Apple iPhone or an iPad. iTunes comes in handy for not just playing and organising the songs to go with your phone or your tablet, but also, more importantly, to back up your phone or your tablet. These days, Apple wants you to use the iCloud to back up your phone too, and then you've got to start paying $1.50, $3, $5 for the rest of your life to use their iCloud storage to back up your phone. You don't need to. You just need to install iTunes on your computer, and then roughly once a month, you plug your phone into the computer, open up iTunes, and tell iTunes to back up your phone for free to your computer.
And does that not matter if I don't have an Apple computer to plug my Apple iPhone into?
Not at all. iTunes these days is only on Windows. On an Apple computer, there is no longer iTunes. They got rid of it. So iTunes is only there now for Windows computers.
So on an Apple device, it's simply Apple Music.
Apple Music does the music side of things on Apple computers, but on Apple computers to back up your phone, which again, you should do regularly, to back up your phone on an Apple computer, you should be backing it up with the Finder app, actually on the phone, on the computer itself. Open up Finder on an Apple computer, and you'll see your phone there if you can back it up from there. Again, still completely for free.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good news. Now, I use, because it's the less complicated of them, and I know it's free, what's your opinion of Audacity?
Audacity for doing audio creation and editing, recording yourself. It's a good, simple, free little program to do that sort of thing. And it can do a range of different multi-track things, which is quite a complicated system to have. It does it all for free. It's not quite as good as feature-rich as the commercial programs. I myself use Adobe Audition, which I've used now for got to be close to 20 years. It's not quite up to that standard, but for regular recording of audio, it's a good system to do that with.
All right, let's go through some areas, and you can tell me what's free and how good and how not good, etc. As it relates to security and getting rid of malware, what do I use? What's free?
So you can, just to start off with that, you can these days just survive pretty well using the antivirus built into Windows. Windows Defender does a pretty good job, and it's completely free, no ads. It's looked after these days by doing things through the internet. So if it finds something that could be a virus, it sends it off to Microsoft's security system and then checks if it's a virus. If it's not, it lets it run. If it is a virus, it stops it. So that one's built into Windows, doesn't need anything else at all. If, however, you think it's not quite good enough for you, you can always get Bitdefender free. Completely free, but it does do two things that can cause people some annoyances. One, it can show you ads. The ads are there trying to get you to pay for the actual full commercial version of it. Doesn't need to be done. You can survive with the free version, but you can then pay for it. The other thing it can do, and all these free programs have a chance of doing this, is it can track what you're doing. And it can say, this person's opened this program, this person's opened that program, and it sends that back as a sort of track of what you're doing. That way they can use that to sort of better understand how their users use the programs. So Bitdefender free, good option as alternative to the built into Windows, but it does get those two issues. Other thing to look out for is Malwarebytes. It's been around for quite some time, and now it's moved from being just a simple scan program to make sure you got nothing, no ads or spyware on your computer, into a fully fledged antivirus. But the fully fledged antivirus part of it is a paid for section once again. So if you want to just to get the free thing, to do the regular scanning of adware and spyware, which Malwarebytes has done for over a decade, that's the way to go for that one. Another free program there to keep yourself somewhat safe. If something gets on, I should put this, there is no perfect antivirus. All of them have flaws. So while you shouldn't have more than one antivirus, if you're using Windows Defender or Bitdefender for the free things, or you're paying for Norton or McAfee or Trend Micro or any other the things, you can have the free Malwarebytes on your computer and run it occasionally. That way you make sure things haven't snuck past your antivirus to infect your computer.
And of all of those, if I only want to download one, what is your recommendation?
My main recommendation is, without a doubt, always Bitdefender free. It's the best antivirus from all the tests I've seen for the last few years when it comes to keeping you safe and secure. If you don't mind the ads, don't mind a little bit of tracking of what programs you're opening, it's the best free antivirus on the market currently. However, if you don't want the tracking, you don't want the ads, then don't bother downloading anything. Just stick with the Windows Defender built inside of Windows.
Okay. Now, I have Bitdefender on my computer because that's what you recommended. And Clicks Online is always good in recommending things that don't cost a lot, but you've got to pay him a lot. But be that as it may, I have it on mine. And when I try to open up my radio station's webpage, Zeta, Bitdefender keeps on coming up, are you sure? It does it every day. Now, if it tracks me, why doesn't it say, all right, he's done it 35 times already, so it must be safe, I'll let him do it?
It's not looking at what's safe and what's not safe. When it's tracking you, it's making sure that it knows what programs are being used by you. That way they can sort of, I wouldn't say use that for advertising purposes, but that's where most of these businesses get their revenue from for these free things, is from the advertising revenue they get. When it comes to when Bitdefender's doing that, it's trying to make sure that you're positive, you're sure that the website you're going to is definitely safe. It's putting the onus, it said, I'm not too sure, I can't check this website, so you get the final say. Is the website safe? If you say it is, you can go on there. If you're not sure, you say, no, I don't want to do it. But in your case, you should probably do it.
Yeah, well, if I don't do it, I'm out of work. Well, now, another area of investigation, I might use Google. Now I'm using Google Gemini and Claude and goodness knows what else. But web browsing, what are free and how would you rank them?
So these days, there's really two main web browsing systems. You have the Chrome system, the Chromium system, which is from Google, which is Google Chrome, it is Brave, it is Opera, it is Edge. All those ones, they're all based off the same system as Chrome. Yep. Which is all well and good. It's up to date and it's looked after, but there are some issues with trust and some issues with websites taking security holes from those systems. I recommend the use, still to this day, of Firefox. I use it myself all the time. It is the second system when it comes to the internet browsing systems. It's not quite as popular as it used to be, but it's more secure than Chrome, and it gives you the benefit of actually having a proper ad blocking system. So all the Chrome-based browsers, the Chromium ones, the Brave, the Chrome, the Edge, the Brave, all those Opera, all those can run what they call uBlock Origin Lite, which is a very cut-down version of the ad blocker. Only Firefox can run the proper uBlock Origin ad blocking system, which has all the secure features to make sure the ads don't pop up and you don't get the cookie questions and all those sort of garbage questions you get all the time. That's why Firefox, for me, when it comes to blocking ads and also security, is the way to go.
So where does Firefox unlike Google, get its data access from.
So it all the same thing is always through the internet. So it always uses the same websites that you always see. This comes down to the way the program that's accessing the internet is being written. And Chrome, or those Chromium-based browsers, are written from the base that Google themselves created, but Firefox predates that. So Firefox actually based off the old Netscape Navigator browser from way back in the 90s. It's been evolving all this time. Whereas Chrome and its browsers these days based off that only started being created in the late 2000s. So there's the history there with Firefox that's built up over all these years.
Yeah, with the history, I wish they'd bring back WP51. Anyway, Word replaced it, did it not? Anyway, I don't want to go down that path. What about the utility and system tools?
So this is where it gets very tricky. So a lot of these programs are, again, safe to use. I'll start with probably the safest of the lot. People get there and ask about keeping their computers clean and safe and cleaning up temporary files. I don't recommend programs these days to do that. There's one I used years ago called CCleaner. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody anymore. These days, I recommend the use of a program called WizTree. Now, what this program does is it shows you all the files and folders on your computer's hard drive, and it shows them in the list at the top. Then at the bottom, it then shows how all of those files and folders look in terms of how big they are, with every file being a square. So the bigger the file, the bigger the square. And from there you can see which folders have taken up all the space, which files take up all the space. And if you find a folder that's taking up a lot more space than you think, say your pictures folder's half your hard drive, you'll be able to see, oh, there's this massive folder in there, it's my pictures folder. I don't need all these pictures on my computer's hard drive. They're already somewhere else. I'll delete this folder. It makes it easy to go through and find where your files are and where the big ones actually take up all the space.
Let me ask a question then. Of course, photos are on my computer, but it's on the iCloud when I go to iCloud. So that's not on my computer. That's on iCloud, isn't it?
That's right. Well, you can have some pictures actually on your computer's hard drive, and you'll find out what's actually taking up the hard drive space by using this WizTree program. It makes it easy to find what's taking up your space on your hard drive very quickly, very easily. It's actually what I use on any computer where I'm moving someone from an old computer to their new computer. I'll open up WizTree, make sure I've got an idea of how much files I've got to try and move, and make sure I get those files off the computer's hard drive. So that's a good program for making sure you know exactly how much stuff's on your computer. This next one is one to be used very cautiously. I use it all the time when I'm doing people's computers. It's one called WinArrow Tweaker. Now, Windows 11 and Windows 10 change the way things work and like to have things running in the background. This program, it explains every setting. Every setting gets an explanation, and you can actually turn features on or off that Windows has got with the wrong setting. So for example, with one of the things I always do in here is I turn off all the ads. Windows 10, Windows 11 are both full of ads. With this WinArrow Tweaker, I can turn off every ad from Microsoft. They're all gone straight away. I can also turn off the tracking that Microsoft wants to try and do. I can turn on a backup feature that Microsoft turned off about 4 years ago now. Why they turned it off, I have no idea. There's a whole range of other things you can tweak inside here. It's a good program to make Windows 10 and Windows 11 work the way it's supposed to. Now, this one comes in handy. Windows 10 and Windows 11 changed the way Windows looked. So you had the Windows Start button, which we've had for a long, long time. Then in Windows 8, they got rid of the Start menu. So you lost your documents, your shutdown button, all those things disappeared. Stayed gone in Windows 10. Windows 11, they moved the Start menu to the middle of the screen and changed the thing again. OpenShell, it puts back the old Windows 7 Start menu. You have all your Start button, your documents, your pictures, control panel, your programs back the exact way you've used it for well over a decade. It should never have been changed. People like the old way. OpenShell does exactly that, making sure things look and work the right way.
So that doesn't affect the keyboard, though, because on the keyboard there is still the Windows little set of squares. Doesn't change the keyboard, does it?
No, it just changes what the computer shows you when you press that button. Rather than being the Windows 11 or Windows 10 or Windows 8 Start screens as they do these days, it shows you the old-fashioned Windows 7 Start menu, which everyone loved. Everyone loved Windows 7. And
Can you put a picture of that up below?
Definitely. So this is what Windows 10 and Windows 11 will look like normally. and this is what the start menu looks like with the OpenShell program running on.
All right. So WizTree is the big one. That's the one you're talking about.
WizTree comes in handy to make sure you can go through and clean your computer's hard drive up. Now, once you've cleaned your hard drive up, you want to back it up. Now, we've both used now for quite some time Cobian Reflector and Cobian Backup to look after your backups.
Yes.
And it is a simple to use program and just gives you all your files on that backup hard drive without too many issues at all. And if there's an issue, it tells you there's an issue.
So Cobian, when I use my 4 terabyte external hard drive to back up, Cobian will delete what it backed up last time and put the new backup on. Is that what happens?
Yes. It depends on how many you've told it to do. You can have it back up and just keep 1 copy or 2 copies or 3 copies. Yeah, it'll clear out the oldest possible version to give you your latest backup on that hard drive. Again, completely free.
I might investigate that. Okay, last one. My one. Media and productivity. Take me through the media-free items.
Oh, this is huge. So, of course, these days people are paying for Microsoft 365 and they're paying $100 a year just to be able to write a Word document, make an Excel spreadsheet. They shouldn't be doing that at all. First up, if you already own Microsoft Office from 20 years ago, it will still work on your computer today. People are still using Microsoft Office 1995 on Windows 11 computers. It works. There's no reason to buy a new version of Microsoft Office if you have the product key and the disk for an old version. But not everyone does.
Yeah. I wouldn't know where mine was.
That's the problem. So you move, you get that sort of issue. So the problem is you go and buy your computer from Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi, and the salesperson is trying to increase their commission. They do that by trying to upsell you to buy Microsoft Office. Yep. You don't need to. There are alternatives out there. The easiest one to get a hold of is Google Workspaces. Google themselves have a word processor, a spreadsheet thing, a PowerPoint presentation program, all on their website. It's called the Google Workspace. So you have docs.google.com for Word documents. You have sheets.google.com for spreadsheets.
What about Word?
That's the docs.google.com. Not only does it have it on their website, it then means it's available on all your computers and your phones. It actually has speech recognition inside of it as well. So you can just get in, talk to the computer, and it will make the Word document off what you say for free.
Okay. Just as an aside, I've got a stupid question. A friend of mine who has Apple, and I don't, keeps on sending me emails with an attachment from Apple, which I can never open. It's a win.something file. What can I download onto my computer so it will open those stupid documents from Apple?
Absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, the Pages and the Keynote and I forget what the other one's called from Apple, those programs, the files they create cannot be opened up on a Windows computer. They need to be on the Apple computer, need to be exported to the correct file format by the person with the Apple computer. So they can export them from Pages as a Word doc, and then you'll be able to open it no problem at all on your computer.
So I've got to tell them rather than me fixing it.
There's no way you can fix it on your side. So if you don't want to do things with Google, because Google owns everything already, there's a free program that's been around for a long time again called LibreOffice. It's based off the old Oracle Office system from years ago, which is, I think memory serves, based a little bit off the WordPerfect suite of systems too.
WP51.
There you go. So you got your WordPerfect in. So LibreOffice is completely free. It does try and by default save things as its own Office format. So you've got to go into your settings. You can modify that relatively easily. Or just as you save your files, you save them as a Word document. But LibreOffice also completely free for doing all those Word documents and spreadsheets you need to be able to do. No reason to pay Microsoft at all for that. If you're looking at emails, because of course one of the features of Microsoft Office is Outlook, which is hard to get a hold of the proper version these days. Email is important. There are 2 email programs that are free. One of them's easy to use and simple, and that's the Thunderbird email program. It's based off the Netscape Navigator suite of programs from the late 90s, so same as Firefox. It works with all email systems and all email providers, no problem at all. Completely free, and looks a bit like the old Outlook Express used to look years ago. So it gives you that sort of reminiscent appearance of it as well. However, if you don't want to use that, there's another program called EM Client. Now, this one has a paid version and a free version. The free version is heavily sort of cut down from what the paid version is. But for one person with one email address, the EM client isn't a bad idea.
You said you implied Outlook Express there's a cost factor. I've never paid for it, and that's what I've only ever used.
So there's actually three different things with Outlook actually four, to be honest. You have Outlook Express, which comes from the Windows XP days, which was completely free. You have Outlook, what they call Outlook Classic now, which comes on Office. You then have Outlook New, which is what they're trying to push you all onto using, which is the ad-supported thing that there's for free. And there's Outlook.com. So there's four different Outlooks. What you're using on your computer is Outlook Classic. The reason why you've got that is because you've bought Microsoft Office in the past. So you actually have that for yourself forever. You just didn't realize you actually pay for it as part of that Office package.
Oh, okay. Is Outlook Express, or whatever you've just called it, is that an efficient, satisfactory, free program to have?
So Outlook Classic, the one you've got, is you've actually paid for it already, is the gold standard with email systems. Literally, that is the best of the best. Outlook New is the one they're trying to push people onto, is the ad-supported, Microsoft tracking you the way they want to try and know what you do with your emails, your contacts. It's the garbage thing. Outlook Express, the old one, died with Windows 7. That hasn't been around for over 15 years. And then you have Outlook.com is their website. They use the same name on multiple occasions. Why? Because they're Microsoft.
I have, and I don't know how this happened, I have two email addresses. Let's start again. Many, many years ago when I started with emails, I, with Telstra, created an email address. And that was standard. Then they come along some years later and say, we've gone from .com to .net.au. So I had to create another one with .net.au. Now I've got the two. And I never know which one is in charge and which one is the master. Same thing. Excuse the tautology. I don't know where I was going to go with this. So when I have my Apple iPhone, I have Outlook on that phone. I can read my emails on my phone. Now, if I buy a new Apple iPhone, I know I can put the new one next to the old one and it will automatically download from one to the other. Will it automatically download the Outlook items, apps, whatever, from phone to phone, or do I have to reinstall them all with passwords and blah, blah, blah?
So someone who had to last year, back in November, buy a brand new phone thanks to the iOS 26 screw-up they had with Apple with the iPhone SEs. In the past, you had to put in all your passwords again. You'd transfer your stuff across to the new phone and ask you for every password under the sun you ever had.
Yep.
With the latest iOS 26, the one thing they've done is you don't need to do that anymore. As long as you've been telling your iPhone to save your passwords for everything you've logged into, it just works. All your passwords go across.
But is that Outlook? Will it transfer Outlook?
It transfers whatever's on the old phone, every email setting, every folder you got on the old phone's emails, go across to the new phone. Nothing changes. Okay,
so I can do it side by side.
Yes, but honestly, like as I said, your best bet is always use iTunes. Plug your old phone into the computer. The phone will ask you for your PIN. You type your PIN in, so you trust the computer. You then use iTunes to back up your old phone. You then, when it's finished backing up, it takes about 20 minutes to half an hour to back it up. You unplug the old phone. You plug your new phone into the computer, and you tell it to restore the backup of the old phone onto the new phone. Completely free, foolproof, works every time. Actually, with someone this morning that actually was trying to get Telstra's store to do the changeover. The Telstra store tried to do it wirelessly, wouldn't work. So I organised to show them how to do it via their computer and via iTunes.
Okay. Well, I might get you to show me sometime in the future. I'm not going to buy one this year. I'll wait till the new one comes out in September.
Of course. Always new ones coming out.
Yeah. And I don't really... I mean, I've got iPhone... And this has got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I've got iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it does everything perfectly still. And the only dilemma I have with it is the longevity of the battery life. That's it. Everything else works. And I think to myself, why do I want to spend a fortune getting a new one when everything I want works?
For the time being, it does. At some stage, though, in the next couple of years, Apple's going to update your phone to the point where it won't work properly. but also it's going to stop getting updates. And when it stops getting updates, the people that you use, websites you use, companies you use will say, oh, you want to use our website still? You've got to update your phone because our apps won't work on your old phone. That's what happens right now all the time. That's why the people from a few weeks ago had to buy brand new iPhones because the system they were trying to use with their bank didn't work on their old phone.
So do I still have at least 2 years?
You've got at least 2 to 3 years to go, yes.
Okay, well, I'll wait 3 years.
Just get a new battery. Go to your local person and get a battery put into your phone.
But people tell me that when you get the new battery put in, it doesn't work the phone still works, but the battery isn't as good as the one that was there.
It depends on who puts the battery in. There are different people who put quality batteries in. For example, with myself, when I've replaced batteries in phones, I make sure I source the expensive batteries that are actually from the same factory as the Apple phone batteries themselves. That way you're getting a quality battery. People do buy cheap phones from China, though, which don't work quite as well.
Would it not just be sensible to go into an Apple store and ask them to put the battery in?
I don't believe they do that unless it's been recalled for a certain reason. So, no, you're stuck having to go to a local phone repairer.
Okay, well, we've pretty much covered all the free stuff. And you're going to list below, and please like below and share below and follow below and all that stuff below. But you're going to put all this hardware free stuff on below, yes?
Every program listed, and some other ones as well we haven't got to, will be all listed below. So if you want to try and get the links to the different websites to download the programs, well worth going through them.
Okay, now we are going to have next Sunday, because it is always published on Sunday, we are going to have next Sunday off, and it's not Christmas, it's not Anzac Day, and it's not Easter. It's just a day off for the nerd and normal.
We're taking a well-earned week off, I think. We've been going pretty hard lately, so a well-earned week off for us.
No more bites for next week. Oh, I like that. Sorry. What?
On that note, I'll let Gareth go insane. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.